Today we're going to look at some astonishing inventions that you might think are still just science fiction, or some innovations that you might have thought already existed but had no idea how advanced they already are. Hey everyone, my name is Alex Beckman, and today we're discussing 7 impressive inventions that you probably didn't know about. Some of them have been around for a while and you had no clue, while others are set to become massive hits in the coming years. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure to do so you don't miss out on upcoming videos. So let's get to the video. Imagine you are lost in a forest or on an island with no one around. You need to rely on what you have to survive until someone rescues you. You might worry about the food you have or the cold nights, but your biggest enemy will undoubtedly be thirst. Predators come next, of course. You can survive weeks without food, and the cold might be hard on you, but without water you won't last more than 3 days. And probably after a day without water you'd start losing your mind. Then you come across a lake. You might think it's fresh water, so it's drinkable. Problem solved, right? Wrong. If you find water in the wild, chances are it's full of impurities that can make you sick or even kill you. There are many natural ways to filter water, but none are as easy and efficient as this little straw. It's called live straw, and it's an extremely portable filter that you can use like any straw. When you use the live straw, water passes through filter fibers and over 99% of impurities are removed. It can be used multiple times, even with very dirty and muddy waters you'd never consider drinking under normal circumstances. It can purify up to 1,000 liters of water, and in 2005 Forbes selected it as one of the best inventions of the year. It comes in various forms and models, and can be a lifesaver during camping emergencies or disasters. Its most significant use has been for populations in developing countries through the Follow the Leaders project, which provided this technology to at-risk populations in areas without clean water. This project has saved countless lives from diseases and issues like diarrhea, typhoid fever, dysentery, and cholera. And if you want one for your next camping trip, you can buy one online. A suit that, once you put on, gives you superhuman strength, protects against major impacts, or allows a wheelchair user to walk again. You've probably seen this in various movies and games, but you might be surprised to know that advanced versions of this are no longer just fiction. This is a bionic exoskeleton, and it's a reality. The Bionic Exoskeleton is a suit that mimics human joints, like knees, hips, and elbows, and has an external power source, like a battery. There are various models designed for different purposes. Depending on the model, it can be controlled by buttons, a joystick, voice, or even an interface between a computer and the user's brain. People who've suffered strokes, spinal injuries, multiple sclerosis, or are going under physical rehab can now perform tasks they couldn't before, like walking or standing. There is ongoing research into this technology's potential industrial applications as well. The goal is to help workers who handle heavy loads avoid injuries. However, most efforts to develop this technology are for military use. The US Armed Forces have conducted various studies to create a super soldier, one who can run faster, jump higher, and withstand all types of impacts. There have been several advancements in this area, but most involve military technology secrets. So, you want to start a farming business, become an agri-boy, but there's a small problem, literally. You don't have a large farm like your competitors have, just your backyard. Could it work? Everyone knows the more land you have, the more space you have to plant. So if you want to plant a lot, you'd need lots of square meters of soil as well. But what if we layered farming spaces vertically rather than horizontally? Think of it like a building. If every family living inside had their own house side by side, imagine the land that would occupy. Perhaps your farming business won't work this way in your backyard, but you can definitely reduce the land size you have and plant as much as on a huge farm. Hence the emergence of vertical farming, where crops are not laid out side by side on the same level. Examples can be found in Japan, the US, the Netherlands, and other countries, such as Sky Greens in Singapore and Aero Farms in the United States. They usually use high-tech solutions to control lighting, temperature, and irrigation. For instance, adjusting the intensity and color of LED lights to benefit specific plants. Moreover, they often don't even use soil for planting. Yes, soil. Planting is often done directly in nutrient-rich water or next to fish farms that produce organic waste for the plants. Another method involves suspending the plant in air, misting it with nutrient-rich vapor. So why isn't everyone doing this? The fact is, vertical farming is expensive and challenging to scale. Products from these farms often fetch higher prices, which helps to cover the investments. Cars that drive themselves have often been the subject of science fiction movies. They are now a reality, and depending on which city you live in, you can even use one just by pressing a button. Cars with autonomous driving have been a reality for almost 10 years, and they have improved a lot since then. They rely on artificial intelligence and undergo thousands of program tests before being used, and many brands are working in this market currently. But these cars aren't all the same. There's a classification for how autonomous a vehicle is, known as the SAE classification, which ranges from level 0 to level 5. Level 5 is full automation, meaning the car drives 100% by itself in every scenario. Many level 5 designs don't even have a steering wheel or front-facing seats, as no one will ever drive them, so the vehicle doesn't need a front and back. And we are really close to level 5. There are several cars already at level 4 that work well, and they are typically used for ride-sharing services. It's basically a taxi with a ghost driver. You see an empty driver's seat, yet the car moves even without anyone in it. But if you're someone who consistently fails the driving test, or always gets traffic tickets, don't get too excited. This technology is only being implemented in a few cities since it still requires government regulation. Accidents do happen, but they are far less frequent than those involving human drivers. And the issue isn't even the cost. What complicates matters is that there are some very specific situations where the vehicle might act incorrectly or just stop. There was once a test where a car thought a picture on a billboard was a red traffic light and stopped in the middle of the road. Those situations are rare, and many companies are striving to fix them. And once it's resolved, it's very likely we will have fully autonomous cars driving around everywhere. I just want to see you yelling at the driver of the car next to you when that day comes. If you've watched Harry Potter, you've definitely seen this thing. It's the Invisibility Cloak, and you can use it to go wherever you want without anyone noticing. A dream of the curious and perhaps the gossipers. But you can only use it if you're a wizard in the Harry Potter universe. But if you were rejected from Hogwarts as a child, as I was, there's still hope for you. You might not be able to cast spells, but you can now use an invisibility cloak. That is, if you're in the military. The first significant model was introduced in 2006 at Duke University, and it manipulates the light waves that would normally show the object to instead reflect the surrounding environment, making the object seemingly disappear. The use of this material is strictly military. You can't just walk around in public playing invisible. And if you're now worried you will never truly be alone, relax. This technology is great for hiding objects, especially from a distance. But while it might be hard to see what's behind the material, it's easy to notice the difference between the material of the cloak and its surroundings. That's because it's much easier to hide light of a specific color than all colors simultaneously, let alone reproduce the exact background behind the object, not just to its side. In the end, the cloak hides whoever is behind it well, but it appears slightly blurred, and you can at least detect the presence of an invisibility shield in the place. And this is all about a stationary cloak or shield. Moving it makes it even harder to manage all those details and remain 100% concealed. Either way, it has fascinating potential and already showcases surprising results. Since these invisibility cloaks are for military use only, you and I can't have one at home. But don't be sad, because I have a tip. You can use a chroma key fabric and edit a video over it. Anyone watching you film will just see you with a green cloth, but you will achieve an incredible effect to show your friends after editing. And if you had an invisibility cloak, what would you do with it? Let us know in the comments what you would do. Smart glasses. Another technology you've probably heard a lot about this year, but if you remember well, it's something that's been around for a while. In 2013, Google proved it was ahead of its time by introducing Google Glass, which was much talked about back then. It operated using touch, voice commands, and even head gestures. The technology functioned well, and many developers were quite excited about this innovation. But it quickly faded into oblivion due to privacy concerns. There was no indication for others to know if the glasses were recording, so whenever you encountered someone wearing them, there was always a chance you were being filmed. This led to situations where people wearing them were prohibited from entering cinemas, for example. Furthermore, the glasses didn't appeal to the masses and were quite expensive. But innovation didn't stop there. Google Glass continued to be sold, but not for the general public, rather to businesses. It is still in use in some professions today. And if you are already familiar with all of this, you might be thinking, why am I talking about a technology that emerged a decade ago and failed to catch on? Today, many brands are producing new smart glasses, especially Apple, which is heavily investing in this technology. It's an existing technology waiting to gain huge popularity. Many of these new smart glasses are designed more subtly and offer many more features than the original Google Glass, making them more appealing. What is still in the experimental stage but has shown promising results are the smart contact lenses. Imagine not holding a smartphone or gesturing in front of others because of your glasses, but still having access to all that tech without lifting a finger. The idea behind these lenses is to make invisible computing. In addition to correcting vision issues, these lenses can provide instant translations, recognize and name people, enhance visibility in dim lighting, and many other features. Mojo Vision is a leading project in this area, showing significant progress in its development. And if you want to stop receiving the lens data, just switch it off, and it continues to function like a regular contact lens. Imagine you're in your room and notice something odd. You investigate and are confronted with a fire. Your mind races to consider the best response. If there are no electrical device nearby, water might work, but using a fire extinguisher is always the best choice. Some might even think of smothering the fire with a blanket to starve it of oxygen. But doing so requires care not to set the blanket ablaze. But what if you could shout at the fire? It sounds ridiculous, and well, it is, but if you could yell in a way that deprives the fire of oxygen, the fire would go out, just like when smothered with a blanket. While human voices might not be able to extinguish fire, this particular extinguisher can. It uses sound waves between 30 and 60 Hz, which has been shown to be most effective in suffocating a fire by removing its oxygen source. This technology works on a small scale. But our voices don't operate at these frequencies and aren't designed for that purpose. So don't try yelling at a lit stove. The sound-based extinguisher was developed by Seth Robertson and Viet Tran in 2015 at George Mason University. Their dream was to eventually tackle wildfires or other high-risk situations using drones, with drones equipped with sonic fire extinguishers. Many firefighters lose their lives battling flames, and accessing fires in certain areas like in buildings can be challenging. A drone carrying water or chemical agents would quickly run out, but a drone using sound could combat the fire for a much longer time. The technology has been proven to work well, but further tests are being carried out to evaluate its practicality on a large scale. If successful, it could save many lives. These are some of the most interesting innovations of the century. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button below and let us know in the comments what other lists you'd like to see on this channel. Stay tuned for new videos every week. My name is Alex Beckman, and I see you next time.